Xiao Yan has only just been found. He hasn't even spent time with his family yet, and the two children are still young. We don't plan on letting him get married so early. You scared me to death. I thought you were going to say something else, Wu Shumen said while patting her chest in relief. Do I look like such an unreasonable person? For all these years, I've seen how much you've missed your child. How could I let Xiao Yan return and immediately deprive you of the chance to be together as mother and son? Besides, even if they get married, Meng Yao would still live in your home. Yan Meng Yao was speechless. Mother Jia smiled and checked the time. She turned to the butler and instructed, have people begin preparing the banquet venue. Since Xiao Yan has returned, it's time to hold a family recognition banquet. The butler immediately nodded. Yes, madam. Yang Wanyan looked at me. Yanyan, are there any friends you'd like to invite? I'll have invitations sent. I paused for a moment, knowing this was inevitable. I don't have many friends in the capital. I'm not sure if they'll have time to come. I'll call them myself and ask. Yang Wanyan nodded. Jia Wanning took out her phone. I'll contact a stylist. Later, I'll have Meng Yao get dressed up as well, so she won't embarrass our Yanyan. As she spoke, Wu Shumen placed the brocade box containing the ring into my hand. I almost forgot. I haven't given you my gift yet. I didn't know the meaning of the ring, but judging by its quality, it was obviously no ordinary ring. Unsure what to do, I looked toward Yan Meng Yao. She gave me a slight nod. Jia Qingling could only glare angrily from the side, unable to stop this exchange. We'll come by later. After Yan Meng Yao's family left, I followed my family back to the main villa, while Jia Wanning was leading me upstairs. Jia Qingling pulled Mother Jia aside and said, Mom, how could you agree to let my brother be with that girl from the Yun family? You know their family. She stopped mid-sentence, but the meaning was obvious. If not for that, she wouldn't have risked being hated by me. To stop them from being together, Mother Jia looked uneasy, but still said, Meng Yao is a good girl. And just as your sister said, they're already together. I can't bring myself to break up a loving couple. Jia Qingming fell silent for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was tense. Whether that girl from the Yun family is worthy depends on how she performs from now on. If she passes my test, then even if it means betting the entire Jia family, I'll protect them. But if she doesn't, even if Xiao Yan hates me, I'll break them up. Meanwhile, I knew nothing about the conversation downstairs. After following Jia Wanning to my room, I was stunned the moment I stepped inside. If Jia Wanning hadn't told me it was a bedroom, I would have thought it was an entire luxury apartment. What surprised me even more was the walk-in closet, filled with every imaginable item. Given my current status, it wasn't as though I'd never seen such things before, but I certainly wouldn't turn a place meant for sleeping into something this extravagant. Xiao Yan, I arranged all of this for you. Jia Wanning, the head of the entire Jia consortium, no longer looked like a powerful executive. The way she stared at her younger brother was like a giant pet waiting for praise. I glanced at her helplessly. Big sis, are you trying to make me switch careers and open a mall? Jia Wanning was slightly startled, not expecting me to joke around. She pointed at several rows of transparent cabinets. This side is the clothing section. Pick something first. The shoes that match the outfits are over there. She pointed to the adjacent wall, then glanced at the time on her watch. I'll go see when the stylist is arriving. After saying that, she turned and left the room, thoughtfully closing the door behind her. She happened to run into Yang Wanyan and Jia Qingling, who were coming upstairs together. Jia Wanning paused, apparently thinking of something, and looked around. Xiao Xiao hasn't come back. That's strange. Jia Qingling folded her arms and answered seriously. I figured, since Xiao Xiao finally found something she cares about. I didn't let Mom tell her that our brother was found, so it wouldn't distract her. They were both crafty enough to see through each other. How could Jia Wanting not understand what Jia Qingyin was really thinking? Still, it suited her just fine. Jia Wanting reached out and patted Jia Qingyin's shoulder. Very thoughtful of you. Meanwhile, at the border of China, a woman dressed in black camouflage had a foxtail grass stem in her mouth and a rolled-up portrait in her hand. So we're heading to Ling Country next. A man beside her nodded. His eyes were filled with the weariness of endless travel. I wonder when we'll finally find the Lord's wife and child. A scar-faced man gulped down half a bottle of water, then wiped his mouth. Doesn't the lady of the Jia family in China look pretty similar? Why not bring her back? The scar-faced man rubbed the back of his head and glared. But that boy's eyes looked quite similar to the portrait. As soon as he finished speaking, he got smacked again. Are you addicted to hitting me or something? What if you beat me, stupid? The scar-faced man wore the fiercest expression while saying the most cowardly words. I'm saying, what if he's the Lord's son? Why don't we get a strand of his hair and bring it back? So, you're saying the Lord's wife is dead? Otherwise, how would he end up an orphan? The man in black camouflage spat out the foxtail grass from his mouth. Besides, only the boy's eyes resemble the portrait. If we ran a DNA test on everyone with a slight resemblance, we'd drain the Lord dry. As he spoke, he unrolled the portrait again. What era are we living in? We're still using a portrait to find people. If we at least had a photograph, it'd be much easier. Let's go. The Lord was hypnotized. The fact that he can still remember the rough appearance of his wife and child is already impressive. Instead of complaining here, we'd better get back to searching. In the blink of an eye, evening arrived. The entire Jia residence was brightly lit. Servants and staff were all at their post, busy with preparations. The banquet venue had been set up in the open-air garden. A long dining table was draped in white cloth, covered with all kinds of exquisite pastries. A champagne tower shimmered with changing colors under the lights. Vibrant flowers lined both sides of the red carpet, stretching outward from the archway and making the entrance breathtakingly beautiful. The entire venue was filled with a joyful atmosphere, while still maintaining an air of elegance. Outside the Jia residence, luxury cars arrived one after another. Members of the capital's elite circles streamed in. The Jia family's status spoke for itself. Before the guest of honor had even appeared, more than half the invited guests had already arrived. People chatted and laughed throughout the venue. Of course, the topic always came back to the newly found young master. I never thought the Jia family's lost child would actually be found. Has anyone seen what he looks like? Who knows? But I think it's best not to expect too much. Why's that? Isn't the He family a perfect example? The biological son they found was rustic and ugly. He didn't even know how to use a knife and fork. He looked like someone who had never seen the world. After the recognition banquet, the He family patriarch never let that child appear in public again. Wherever he went, he only brought Yangzi. The Jia family's son has been living among commoners since birth. He's probably even worse than the He family's boy. My brother isn't as bad as everyone says. A young man in a light blue suit walked over holding a glass of champagne. It's not that Dad won't bring him out. He just doesn't like crowded occasions. The newcomer was none other than He Keoxiang of the He family. Having their gossip overheard by the person involved, several people present looked rather embarrassed. But He Keoxiang didn't seem angry at all. After all, they weren't talking about him. Besides, young Master Jia may not be as bad as everyone says. We'll know what he's really like once he appears. His seemingly supportive words actually reignited the discussion that had just died down, as everyone speculated about how rustic and unattractive the Jia family's young master might be. The music suddenly changed. Then Madame Xia's gentle, yet dignified voice rang out. Thank you all for waiting. Everyone immediately turned around. They saw Madame Jia and Wu Xiumin walking forward while holding a young man's hands. The rest of the Jia and Yun families followed behind them, like bodyguards. The close relationship between the Jia and Yun families was no secret in the upper circles of the capital, so no one was surprised to see them appear together. However, when they finally saw the true face of the Jia family's young master, everyone was stunned. Some were even left speechless. For a long time after the two families appeared, the venue remained completely silent. The moment they saw us, everyone present couldn't help holding their breath. The crowd was captivated for quite a while. When they finally came to their senses, the entire venue erupted. That's the young master the Jia family just found. He's unbelievably handsome. Not just his looks, his presence is incredible too. Who was it that said he was rustic and ugly? Doesn't that feel like a slap in the face? The young masters present had all been raised in wealthy families, yet none of them seemed more outstanding than the Jia family's young master. Hearing the comparisons mixed into the praise, Yan Meng Yao and Mighty Sisters narrowed their eyes. As for the wealthy young masters being compared, quite a few of them darkened their expressions. The moment I appeared, they were already feeling threatened. Now that they were being publicly compared and overshadowed, they felt even worse. He Keoxiang, however, maintained a graceful and genuinely appreciative demeanor. Looking at my strikingly handsome face, he smiled and praised. Young Master Jia is truly impressive. The moment you appeared, all of us brothers felt rather inferior. As soon as he said that, someone teased him. Even our great scholar feels inferior when it comes to looks and bearing. Young Master Jia may indeed be unmatched, but when it comes to talent, there's no one in the capital who can compare to you. A young man with pink hair, Fu He added. Our brother Chao is a master-level Guqin virtuoso, the last disciple of Wen Song. At such a young age, he has already become the vice president of the Capital Guqin Association. He doesn't rely on his looks for a living. The people around them were visibly shocked. They had long known that He Keoxiang was Wen Song's disciple, but the position of vice president of the Capital Guqin Association and the support of the association members. But when it comes to the art of the Guqin, I'm still far behind my master. How old is your master already? Besides, he's a national treasure of the Guqin world. Who could possibly compare with him? To have achieved what you have at your age is already remarkable. Exactly. Since you've been promoted, your Guqin skills must have improved again. You've got to give us a performance. It's been ages since I heard you play. The last time I heard your Guqin was at the Liang family's birthday banquet. He Keoxiang quickly waved his hand. Today's banquet belongs to young Master Jia. How could I steal the spotlight? If anyone is going to perform, it should be young Master Jia himself. As he spoke, he turned to look at me. Then he covered his mouth as if he'd misspoken. His tone sounded slightly uneasy. Young Master Jia has such an elegant bearing. You must have some talent to back it up, right? The moment those words left his mouth, the expressions of both the Yun and Jia families darkened. Jia Qingyin narrowed her eyes at He Keoxiang. Then she looked toward Jia Wanting as if she had been amused by anger. Big sister, have I seemed a little too easygoing lately? People are actually daring to provoke our brother now. Whenever she was truly angry, her voice would become very soft. So apart from the nearby members of the Yun and Jia families, almost no one else heard her. Yet her voice carried an overwhelming sense of pressure, like the stillness before a storm. I squeezed her hand reassuringly. Then I turned to look at He Keoxiang. I do have some talents, and the one I'm best at happens to be the Guqin. Would this young master be interested in listening? Jia Qingyin stared blankly at her own hand. She was so excited that she didn't even hear what I said. Did my brother just hold my hand? She might not have heard clearly, but everyone else heard every word. The crowd instantly became alert. His expression, however, was somewhat dismissive. Young Master Jia, you said you're skilled at the Guqin? I smiled. Is there a problem with that? Of course not. He Keoxiang looked as though he had finally met a kindred spirit. It's usually hard for me to find someone who understands. Knowing that young Master Jia shares the same interest, I'm delighted. I originally had no intention of showing off at young Master Jia's banquet, but hearing that you're proficient in the Guqin, I couldn't help getting excited. Would young Master Jia be willing to exchange pointers with me? I raised an eyebrow as well. Was this guy serious? Although I was born into a military family in my ancient life, my mother came from a scholarly household. When I was hailed as the greatest talent in the capital, this man's ancestors probably hadn't even been born yet. Contrary to what I expected, the moment He Keoxiang proposed a match, Everyone present began worrying about me. After all, in their eyes, He Keokjeong was already a master-level musician. Competing with him was practically asking for humiliation. They all assumed that unless I was foolish, I would surely refuse.